to do that, but we have to preserve the university. This is one of the things, many things across campus that we need to do. I don't expect you to understand it now. I know you're trying to process it and think of next steps. But one thing that I would ask each of you to do is to think carefully about your next steps and think about what it is that will most assist you as you move forward in your life. And I wish you courage through all of this. I will make sure you have support, and I wish I could answer your questions, but I probably can't answer them all right now. So let me turn it over to someone who can answer some of them, but it will take us time to get them all answered. And this is our Vice President for Student Affairs, Carol Jones.
Really quickly, I want to talk about some of the support services that President Cotrier mentioned that will support you as you help make your decision. First thing I want to clarify that all regularly scheduled spring sports will continue. So anything that's planned for this spring semester will continue. The full athletic elimination will occur beginning fall 2025. For those of you that are interested in going through the portal, you need to, oh my gosh, where's Jared? What's the name of the workflow?
Yeah, it's a workflow team.
Yep, workflow and Teamworks. So submit your application through workflow or Teamworks. That will go directly to Jared, and then he will assist you with that process. Tomorrow morning, you each will receive an email from me inviting you to 4 different information sessions that we have for you. This will be attended by different campus partners that will help support you in the next steps. So providing you with advice and support, providing you with financial aid assistance, with CWIF services support for those that are living on campus, and really assisting you in whatever decision you decide to make, whether that remain here at Sonoma State University or to transfer to a different university. We also have alerted our CAP staff to be available to support any student athlete that needs support. We'll have supportive spaces available for student athletes to go in and meet either individually or the community. So there's a bevy of different things that we're doing to support you through this extremely difficult time. So at this point, I want to open it up to any questions, and if there are ones that we can't answer, I'll defer. Remember, this situation is still very fluid, so we're working through it. The last thing is, really quickly, there is a student athlete FAQs posted to the university website, so I urge you to review that to see if some of your questions can be answered there. Okay.
How long ago did you guys come up with the idea of possibly cutting all the soccer or sports programs?
So, as you know, we've had a budget deficit issue on this campus for a number of years that we have taken different measures to try to address. And so the conversations about not just athletics, about everything on this campus has been a discussion. At the town meeting that President Cotrier hosted, I think back in November, December, October, we had mentioned to the campus community then that we would be evaluating all different options as we look to resolve the $24 million deficit. And I want to talk a little bit about that deficit, because a lot of folks think it's something that we can, get money from a donor to kind of solve. This $24 million deficit that we're talking about is a structural deficit. It's a permanent deficit. So it's not something that we can solve 1 year at a time. It's something that has to be dealt with permanently. And so these reduction measures that came out in this morning's communication is our way of addressing a permanent structural deficit.
How do you think taking away athletics is going to affect enrollment? Do you think that's going to negatively affect it, positively affect it? Because in my opinion, I think that might negatively affect it, considering how many people are in this room, and that might not even be half of the athletic population on this campus.
We anticipate that it will affect it negatively, short term. We've got a lot of students in here. We won't have more students coming in to replace them. So there will be an effect, and we will be working, and I believe that we can make up for the loss of enrollment over time.
Ooh.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
So is this like a process to like slowly shut down the school? So like, is there even a point to apply to like credential programs or grad schools here? Like if we're being honest, because it just seems like things are going downhill. So is there even a point? Like is the school gonna shut down soon or?
No. The school is not going to shut down. The purpose of this is to make sure that Sonoma State is financially viable, so that, not just to be financially viable, so that it can continue to serve the 6,000 or so students who attend the university. There are 6,000 students here, just under 6,000, and our goal is to serve students. We are not going to shut it down. We are going to make sure that we continue to serve students and develop the programs that they want.
Lauren.
Question.
Lawyer.
Hey, I'd like to add
lawyer.
one more thing, just as a statement for you all. If I were one of your parents, I can guarantee you I would be upset. Because I would be seeing the disappointment for my child and the loss of an opportunity that they believed they had. I want you to know that we will be reaching out to your parents this week. If your parents ask you, should we call and see if there's anything we can do, ask them to wait until, if they don't mind, wait until they get a letter from us, from me, directly from me. And they will get it if we have your parents' email address. If we don't have your parents' email address, we can't get something to them. But we're going to try and reach out, because I know too well, if you were one of mine, I would not be happy. Yes?
Wait, question. Is this like a permanent thing? Like athletics is just shutting down? You guys have no plan on bringing it back at all?
When you get to be old, you learn to say never, but there is no, in the foreseeable future, bringing intercollegiate athletics back.
I just have a question, because you guys said that you were thinking about it months ago, and it doesn't logically make sense to hire a new coaching staff for the baseball program. Like, they move their families, their lives around to come here, and then you kind of knew already that it's going to go away. From what you were saying earlier, how you were thinking about it, that doesn't make a lot of sense for anyone involved.
I understand what you're saying. Jones had to say, and this is what I would repeat. Back toward the end of October, we told the campus, because we had just found out the totality of the budget gap, that we had to close. Yeah, because things change. We did just find out. The reason we just found out is because of state funding and what happens every year in state funding. But let me finish. At that time, we told the campus community, and I think there were a lot of you here, because there were a lot of students over on that side, we said, everything has to be on the table. I would say that that was probably a good bit after the baseball staff was hired. And it has not been a given from that time on. We began to examine it, whether or not that was something we had to do, which nobody wanted to do, beginning in late October.
I have the mic. I'm back here. I have a question because I don't know if you're aware, but spring sport athletes, they usually come at a allotted time, like during the winter break, and they have to report. So
Right.
We didn't have a choice to opt out that semester, the financial aid. Anyone who pays out of pocket, anyone who is state funded, like they have grants or anything, it's an automatic payment. So even if we do go to the transfer portal, that would take an enormous amount of time, as well as anyone's scholarship being funded through them, whatever like that. So I just wanted to know, like, was that like a thought in your guys' mind about the financial aid or the funds or anything? Because we do have to come out a lot of time.
We always think about financial aid and the ways in which students find to go to school. And as Dr. Jones told you, we will be working with you to support you in any way you can, in any way we can.
The email that comes out tomorrow will list out the informational dates that we have. And again, at those informational sessions, we'll have representatives from financial aid that will specifically address how to support you going forward.
Over here. I feel like I'm very frustrated, along with many of us here, because you guys knew months in advance, and the transfer portal doesn't open back up until May.
Also, like, if you guys knew months in advance and like the coaches found out the same day as us, like, why wouldn't you tell all the coaches first, and then they could all help us and we could
There's no way that
I just want to clarify, we did not know months in advance.
I had an idea.
What we to be clear,
Lauren.
I hear a few people up here saying, I just said we knew back in October. Wait, okay, will you please let me finish? Please let me finish. So I say it correctly this time. I'm sorry if I said it incorrectly. We did not know back in October that we would be. We didn't know in November.
Hi. I just want to know what the people that transferred here and started leases and people that have the rest of their leases to pay for that aren't going to be here So, I mean, are we gonna get some reimbursement for that? Because I'm gonna be out of here and I have to pay this back.
Answer the question. We're adding that to the list of questions.
I have a two-part question, or like two separate questions. The first question was, what do you, like, you're supporting us as student athletes, and I really appreciate that. What are you doing for, like, the faculty and staff in athletics to support them? And also, who, like, are you modeling SSU after another academic institution that doesn't have athletics? And do you see, like, the return of investment that athletics has had in the past versus them not having it in the future?
I think there were three questions there, right? There was one about your concern about faculty and staff, and I appreciate that, because faculty and staff, like our coaches and our students, today is a very difficult day for those who are getting notices. And we will be doing everything we can to support them as well. What does it look like? It's, well, I'll tell you that it is evolving, what it looks like. Right now, we have support groups for them. Our faculty senate is running a program for them. We will be working with the system in order to see if there are other places that they can go. And it will continue. We will continue. Everyone here will be looking for opportunities for them to go elsewhere. Now, that was one of your questions. Another question that was about, do we know how much? Yes. How much it's contributed? Yes. I've seen, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on what it's called, but there is here at Sonoma State an organization that honors outstanding athletes through the ages, since the 1960s, when the university started. And that tells a really important legacy that this university has had through intercollegiate athletics, including when we weren't the Seawolves, when we were the Cossacks. So it has been going on for a long time. And it is very painful to make this kind of change. Was there another question that I forgot? Okay, tell me. No.
Yeah, I guess I'll ask you a question, like, who are our stats, I guess, like should our kids, like, should our families, is that, like, staying up? Like, I feel like with my kids, like, a lot of playing here, here are all my stats, how it is, this is all my teammates, I feel like something like staying up.
Well, I'm glad you made the suggestion. I don't know, we haven't talked about it, but those are things that we need to hear and want to hear from you. And I understand that. Thank you.
Hi, okay, so you said you didn't know months ago that you were going to cut us. So did you decide in one day, 1 week, it took you that short to cut all of us? I'm just confused.
No, it wasn't 1 day, 1 week. It's a long-term process of looking. Want me to answer? It takes a long time to make decisions like this. Because we didn't know back in December.
So, as biggest stakeholder, biggest stakeholder school having declined admissions since roughly 15-30%. How did you guys not notice any decline in previous years that you guys could have made, or you guys could have implemented a system to like eliminate this debt previously compared to now? Like, how do you guys let it get so bad so quick?
Have you guys done any projections to see what losing all of your athletes and losing people who have to take, for example, like economics classes, like people who are losing out on majors, have you done projections to see what the enrollment will be after, and is that going to be sustainable?
Yes, and yes. But those are very important questions that we had to take into account that were part of a long-term decision making. Your question is your name Zach, or is that something I heard? Okay.
It's not funny.
So I would appreciate it if those of you in the back wouldn't mind listening to the question. It was an important question.
Hello?
That was asked very respectfully.
Hey.
And it was a pointed question too.
Y'all can't say y'all cared if y'all just been telling us.
Hello.
You guys can't say that.
We're going to answer the questions here first, and then we'll come back.
You guys can't say you guys care. Because you guys...
Okay, I am going to I'm going to answer Joseph's question. He asked why, if enrollment has been declining since 2015, we've gotten into the situation we're in right now. That's a very good question. And part of the answer, I don't have the whole answer, I've been here since August, but part of the answer is that the university has been working to address it in various ways over the years. Over the last 5 years, they have laid off employees, some 100 employees in 4 years before this year. They have cut all kinds of spending in order to meet it. And budget isn't static, and it isn't all about enrollment. One of the things that we had not anticipated for this year is that the governor's budget for next year includes a large cut for us and for all of the CSUs. And all of the CSUs are going to have cuts, but because we are somewhat behind in our enrollment, it has a bigger effect on us, and because we're small, a bigger effect on us than it has on some others. So we have a particular crisis that began to emerge this fall that we have to deal with. So what you are talking about does not happen down the road, because you can kick a can down the road and that can doesn't disappear, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So we've got to do something about it right now. And it's painful, very painful, and that is a very good question. And probably something very important for you to remember as you move along in your life and career. Don't kick the can down the road, okay? Yes? Oh, okay.
I just want to know, did you know 2 weeks ago, before we got back on campus, because as an athlete who's in a spring sport, I could have transferred somewhere else and still been able to compete my spring semester and not lose my year competing here, or just chosen not to. So I either don't compete for a whole year or compete for a school that's getting rid of athletics because they're in a deficit.
We have answered that question again.
Hello. I just want to know, because it looks like everyone here is very upset, and we still don't have a clear date on when this happened. I want to know how you're going to take all this negativity that's happening right now, because it sounds like you're not going to get positive reviews from this. And I'm wondering how that's going to affect the people who are going to try to come here next year after hearing this? Do we get our money back for the semester? Or?
Does somebody have a different question than what we have?
Hello. My question is, for all the student athletes considering a transfer, what other CSUs have the same problem? And maybe they're deferred, but which schools have the same problem that can be avoided? And in subsequently, how do you lobby?
Yeah, can I go to my car?
Thank you. Those are good questions. First of all, I don't know about the other CSUs. No one has announced the same kind of thing that we have yet. But I think that what you're seeing here will probably work its way out in other places. To this extent, I don't know. I would be very surprised. But it may. The second thing is, how do we lobby the state legislature? Because we're a state school, and that's where most of our funding comes from. Individual universities do not lobby the state legislature. It comes from the system. Our state representatives are aware of our situation, and they would do what they could to help us, but it is not up to the individual institutions as it is in some other states. And that's not because the CSU is a big bad CSU. That's what is in the state education. So we have our hands tied when it comes to lobbying the state, unfortunately. But a good question, an important question.
I'm live.
I just kind of want to make a statement, kind of want to ask a question. So obviously all of our questions were kind of the same. How long did you know? Why didn't you tell us sooner? Valid questions. We're all really upset because obviously as athletes, you know, the process is hard. It's long. It takes a lot of commitment. And for you to tell us in one day and take it all away, that kind of sucks. So I'm just wondering, like, there's a lot of us in here. We're going to have questions. How can we transfer? Do we get our money back? I just want to make sure that we have a lot of people who are addressing our questions quickly and not kind of saying that there's too much. And I want to make sure that our needs are put first, like you're saying, because you care so much.
I was going to order more,
And
but
that
probably
will
not
be
now.
those different informational sessions that are occurring next week. You'll receive the email tomorrow morning. It'll list the 4 different informational sessions. And again, topics, scholarships, financial aid, transfer portal, remaining here, all the different campus partners that specialize in those areas will be there to support you and answer all those different questions.
What if we want to transfer now? How do we get that information now, what it's going to take?
Reach out to our university advising staff can assist.
So will fall sports still continue in the spring, or will it just be spring sports that still continue?
It really appears like
Only,
they're not
the
even
question
ready
was,
for this
will
meeting.
fall sports continue or just spring sports? It'll only be current spring sports will continue. In fall 2025, all sports are discontinued.
So in this, I'm over here, sorry. So you mentioned we're having more informational meetings. In these informational meetings, is it going to clear up when we knew we were $23 million in the hole?
No. The meeting that you will receive an email from, that will be strictly about supporting you on whether or not you decide to remain here or to transfer.
So we'll never know when we knew this? Like, we're just in the dark on like when we realized we were $23 million in the hole?
I recognize that there is we've answered that to the best of our ability. What we've said is that in October, when we had a town meeting for the whole university campus, was that we would announce a campus plan in January on how we plan to solve the budget. And that's what we did. So if you want to ask, the time period was October through January that we met to look at every single different program here at Sonoma State University and come up with a decision.
So how are we saving money by cutting athletics? Because it seems like you're not answering that question. How are we going to save money by cutting out the athletic department? Is that going to save money or not? Because it sounds like it's not, and possibly maybe in a couple of years. But is this institution even going to exist in a couple of years without athletics?
So the plan that came out campus-wide this morning is how we plan to solve the almost $24 million deficit across the campus.
So since a lot of applications for schools this coming fall have closed already, and with the portal closing, are we going to receive some kind of exemption on possible applications that have already closed?
We'll make sure we have an answer to that next week. But I do believe that you are going to have a meeting with the commissioner to walk through all those different things.
On to really happy athletes that did not get many questions answered.
Well, not just us, but ours is one of everybody. Sure.
This is going to be the end of the university.